and welcome to episode 22 of the Just Run podcast with me, Rhys Morgan.
And me, Nathan Marshall.
This week we have Chelle White with us, also known as Little Runner Chelle on Instagram, as most of you probably know. She's no stranger to running and the ultra world. She's run multiple 100-mile distances and even conquered 200 miles in an amazing fashion. But I'm not going to spoil that story. I'll let her go into that during the episode. First and foremost, we're just going to have a little introduction as we normally do. So, Nate, I haven't chatted with you since last week and since we did the opponent debrief. What's new in your world, mate? Any gossip? Any Wales coastal path? Juicy stuff?
Not much, to be honest. I had my last hard session today, and it was like an hour and 15 on the Stairmaster. So that's it now, done with all the miserable shit. It was just about rehab now, and just stretching and just keeping things ticking over quite nice. In terms of the podcast, though, we've now got a site where sponsors can now get involved with the podcast.
Wow.
I know. I don't think I've really told you, have I?
No, it's hysterical. Yeah.
Well, I sent you the link last week about it, and so I set it up. So it's all live, and then sponsors can get involved. And what the agency actually liked was the fact that because they cover loads of local sports teams, and they've got 25 million quid worth of funding for these teams. And they said that all these teams don't have the backing and the level of spread we've got. 34 countries we're in. Each week we're getting impressions of 20,000 on Spotify and YouTube. It's just fucking nuts, and it gives us decent leverage towards sponsorship. So we now have ways people can sponsor an episode. They can sponsor get involved in Welsh Coastal Path, and they can also get involved and be a sponsor for your Ultra X as well. So that's all set up, ready to go. So hopefully we can get you the funding to fuck off around the world.
Yeah, give my wife a break from me. That'd be nice. That'd be amazing. Wicked. Oh, nice one for sorting that, mate. Actually, on the subject of Ultra X, I haven't spoken about that since, have I? You do know, I think I've told you, haven't I? You're probably the only person I have told. Obviously, I was due to run something called Project 13, which involves running all of Ultra X's runs, starting in Rwanda in January all over the world. I am still doing it, but there's been a slight shift and change, and it's going to be now in 2026. So I've got the remainder of this year, and I've got all of next year to basically do what Nathan's just said, try and sort as much sponsorship and funding as I can to help me get to the start lines, and obviously raise as much awareness as possible and funds for cancer research and network with them and their press and their social teams. I've been speaking to my friend who works for them this week. She's on my case about it. And just try and generate as much interest around it as possible. So that'd be really good if they can reach out and help. All the better but nice one for sorting that. It's hysterical that I literally had no idea. I mean, we've spoken about it, but yeah, that's awesome. That's really good.
I think a lot of people don't realise that it's not just going out and training for these events. It's also the financial impact it has on us. We'll probably hear off Chelle as well, how much these events and these runs cost us to set up. Because you think about fueling, for example. I worked it out. I'd need just about 90 quid just in electrolytes to cover my week. That's not including the gels or anything.
Yeah, well, and that's, the opponent, and again, when we introduced Chelle now, I mean, she'll be familiar with this as well. Anybody who does long distance running and stuff, it is, and it's unfortunate because the cost is what prohibits people from actually doing what they want to do. There's so many runs that I would love to do. I'd love to do. I just cannot financially. I mean, I unfortunately live, paycheck to paycheck, as most families do nowadays, with nursery fees and rent and everything. That's the reality of it. And I would love nothing more than to be able to drop, 5-10 grand on this Ultra X challenge and just go, yeah, cool, wicked, I'll do them all. It's just not feasible. And it's not just about having a pair of trainers and some decent kit. financial backing. I mean, for a Pona alone, I spent well over £100 on just gels, food, snacks, drinks, mandatory kit things, and that was just for one run. So yeah, you consider these multi-day events and what you and Chelle, have done and stuff. It's bonkers. And there are some like there's a really good Instagram page. I think Ultra Demo has something to do with it. I can never remember the name of it. And he always posts about events that are free and like how they keep you posted on various events that are either really low cost or free, and they're really good. I mean, but then I also get it because it's a double-edged sword. You got to think these people who run these ultra companies like Pegasus, the Reece Jenkinses, and all these, they're not cheap to run. When you factor in all the expense involved, so I get it. But I do think that there are a lot of companies who are taking the piss a little bit, and it's a struggle, and it completely stops you on the spot. So hopefully, with sponsors behind us and everything like that, maybe even we can help other people, tip off those bucket list races. Who knows?
Yeah,
it'd be really good.
It'd be great. I also had a phone call today with an agency to help me develop an app for running.
Oh.
So I want to create an app which allows you to like post. So, for example, I'm going for a 10k run this time in this area. Does anyone want to join me? And then it goes out, all your details are like hidden, and then people can accept, and you can say, "Yeah, I accept," and you can come join me.
Cool. That's a wicked idea.
Because I was thinking about like the episode we did around women's safety and everything, and how women are too scared to go out running in the dark. So wouldn't it be great to have an app where everyone was vetted, everyone's identity was who they are, and it was up to the person running to accept them going out for a run with them. Yeah,
that'd be awesome. Yeah. Particularly for women, obviously, I don't really like running the nights either. So but I mean, if you're not really comfortable, joining a big running club, or you're not part of a club, or you're new to the scene and you don't know about, running routes or clubs, that'd be class. I mean, that'd be really good. Yeah, well, excuse the pun, but run with it.
Yeah, so clubs can actually use it for themselves as like a group app. It could be used for cycling, anything really, anything outdoor where you just want to go on your own.
That'd be amazing.
They're helping me develop it to get to a stage where we can put it in front of investors.
In the meantime, we've got the lovely Chelle waiting in the background there, so very patiently. So sorry to keep you waiting, Chelle. We're going to bring you in now. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, lovely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for waiting patiently when me and Nathan get talking this. We have to kind of rein it in sometimes, but thank you very much for having you on. And I guess before we dive into all of your amazing achievements, because you've got several of them, just want to know, I mean, because obviously the first time I'm actually speaking to you as well, I've never met you in person, and for any of the listeners as well, just want to know more about you really as a person. And running aside, can you tell us and the listeners, who is Chelle White other than running? What do you do in your spare time? What makes you tick? That type of thing. If you tell us a bit about yourself.
So I am a mum of five.
Five.
Wow. Awesome. Okay.
They're all grown up though. So the youngest two are 22 and the eldest is 30. So
wow. Okay.
So that kept me busy for a long time. Before then, I didn't run at that point, obviously. I work full-time, nights. I'm 52, old bird. And I've only really been running 9 years. And I started off as 5k race for life, and then a 10k race for life the following year. And then decided I was going to do London, but obviously you don't know, no one gets in on the ballot. But I trained anyway and booked a half marathon, and one led to another, and then to a marathon, and then During marathon training, I got poorly and got diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So it stopped me running for a good year and a half because of the medication caused issues. And then I started running again, got straight back into marathons, and done an ultra just to see if I could. Well, I was going to do an ultra, and it got cancelled 2 days before, and then found another one absolutely hundreds of miles away, and luckily hubby took me there. And it's like a relay one, or you could do it as a team. I had no relay because the Cotswold one would have been a relay. So I rocked up there and done it solo, and come second.
As you do, like, after all that as well. We'll come back to the rheumatoid arthritis as well, and things. I'd love to obviously touch about that and talk to you about that a bit more. But I'm curious, when obviously you said you haven't been running that long. I mean, you're probably running for a lot with 5 kids. They probably kept you on your toes, that's for sure. But I'm interested. Obviously, you started 5k and everything. You had a bit of time off. What was it like when you came back after a year and a half off with running? What were the struggles like? How was it difficult mentally to get back into it, or were you really missing it?
No, it made me determined because obviously, long story short, with the RA, you go on. It's an immune problem. So my immune system's overactive, so it fights my body, and unfortunately my joints. So they put you on immune suppressants, which is chemo. So I was on low dose chemo for a year and a half, not realizing because I was still running to start off with. It lowers your bone density. So I ended up with a fracture in my pelvis, front and back, and my right femur. Because the bones had thinned, yeah. No one had told me, and they kept saying every time I went to the hospital in pain, they kept saying, "Oh, it's just your RA, just your RA." And it wasn't until they done an MRI, and they're like, "Oh dear." So that's what put me out for a year and a half, and I was told I'd probably never run again. And I think when I went out for that first run, it's like I am. As soon as I felt okay, and that's how I still proving that point.
Yeah, I mean,
enough.
that's crazy. Well, I suppose whilst we're on it, I was going to come back to it, but I mean, it is such an important topic. I mean, as long as you don't mind discussing it, obviously.
No.
I mean, in terms of that now and the RA and everything and the treatment, how do you handle flare-ups and stuff during races or training sessions, but races now?
Is that why your body's always hot then, Chelle? Because you're like your immune system's heightened all the time then, is it?
Yeah, basically, I think that's another reason why I run hot is because when I'm on a flare up, my joints are like they're on fire. It's really hard to explain. It's kind of like so someone's put a really hot poker in my joint, and then when I move it, it's not nice. I stopped the chemo after that year and a half because I'd rather because the chemo I didn't feel good. I felt rubbish. Tired, sick all the time. And in the end, I thought, do you know what? I'd just rather put up with the pain. And the more I ran, the less pain I got, believe it or not. And I have a doctor that told me off, telling me that I was doing damage. And another one said, well, running automatically and naturally lowers your immune system. So by doing it naturally, it's helping. So
wow, that's insane. The thing is, this is I used to do like when I used to go to a different gym a long time ago in Newport, where I'm from, and the guy I'm always really friendly with, he was the PT, he was the owner of the gym as well, and he used to have one of his most committed clients, or if you want to say, was a lady about your age who had chronic arthritis in her back. And she was, it might have been the same, I'm not sure. I didn't get the whole story, but I would hear her talk about it with him. And she said as well that she would have bollockings off doctors for training the pace that she was. But she said that I'm in more pain when I don't train than when I do. When a lot of people, that doesn't people can't seem to like make sense of that. But for me, something I've always said is movement. Like if you're moving and stuff and your joints and everything are warm, you're going to be in pain, but it's probably going to hurt far less than if you're sat still or sedentary, and then your body's seizing up. So that's probably what it is, I'd imagine. Is it when you're training?
Yeah, it is. So like, it's not bad at the moment, but sometimes, if I go to bed and I sleep in a certain position, because I've not moved all night, I'll wake up and I'm sort of not stuck in that position, but it's like getting out of that position isn't good. When I was really bad, before I was diagnosed, if I was in fetal position, I'd be walking to the bathroom still in that fetal position, because it's just it. I mean, I'm really lucky. I mean, I don't, I know people diagnosed similar time that have walking aids and everything else, and I always think in my head that maybe if I didn't do what I do, then I would be possibly that way as well. So I kind of, and there are now studies that say that the movement and strengthening muscles and everything else is recognized in helping with the rheumatoid arthritis. So the Americans have done some great studies. So it looks like I've done the right thing.
Yeah,
So is that why you ran
makes
so
sense to
much
me.
last year?
Sorry?
Is that why you ran so much last year? Didn't you cover like 4,000 miles last year?
Yeah, and the year before. It's just
Oh,
natural.
Jesus.
I just
Standard.
ran. I just ran. It's just as soon as I was able to run again, I ran.
Well, talk us through your
ran.
week then, Chelle. What sort of mileage do you get in a week?
80 to 100.
Tell your kids are grown up.
At least they wouldn't follow me.
That's amazing. That is. And what do you do? Do you mix up your training like 80 to 100 miles? Is it like, your bog standard? I say bog standard, but like you mixing up the different runs throughout the week, like different tempo and stuff, and on the weekend you do a long one, or do you just do it as you feel?
Just run. I just Forrest Gump it. I just
I
ran.
love it. I love it. This is like a perfect advertisement for the podcast. You've said I just run so many times. Like, I feel like we can have so many little snippets to put on Instagram of you saying that.
Yeah,
Just
I
Like it's
have no, I did have a coach, and I was, like when they say, do so many miles at this, so many miles at that, so at this speed, at this pace. I couldn't see me watch, mate. So how am I supposed to, what a speed I'm running at? So running on feel is just the way I do it, and I can't get away from that, unfortunately.
I think it's important
that
for
is
people our
brilliant.
age to run how they feel. Because if you follow the plan, we'll be following a plan for like a 25-year-old who's an elite runner. Because I've seen some of these plans, they're just insane.
Yeah.
You
Some
got to
of
go by
that.
feel. Got to go by feel.
But that's the best comment from Chelle. Like, I couldn't see my watch. That's the best. That's the best. I can't do it. Why? Because I can't see my bloody watch. That's
No, I
why.
couldn't, honest to God. I mean, that's why I get lost on races, is I can't see the map. So
I'm gonna come back to that because I have done a bit of research and I'll come back to that later on. But I think well, probably another thing that we have to touch on is, I mean, you've done loads of races, but the Wild Horse 200. I mean, weren't you using that as just a training run for your FKT attempt, and then you didn't just finish it, you stomped across the line and took first female. What's that all about? It was a training run, and you like tell us about that whole race. Like that, I bet that must have been unbelievable.
I don't know. If you ask Reese, I nearly quit on the first checkpoint. My biggest thing is getting lost. And I do it and I get quite anxious. So when I was recceing for the art, the first time I went on my own, I got massive. When I say massively lost, I ended up climbing up a cliff and I was wandering round and round and round, not knowing where I was. And then it started to get dark. I was only going out for a couple of hours and obviously gone a long time. And it got to the point like, do we call search and rescue? Because and I was just in a right mess, and all I could picture was me on the news seeing this ultra runner. Had to go and rescue her today, but yeah, no, it frightened me a lot, and I hate getting lost. I'm terrible. I mean, even road, like I'd done the canals, I got lost on them. So I have no inner compass, which is not great. But obviously the canals are easier to navigate than over there. So I started off, I'd recce'd most of the route. Started off like, okay, just aim for 60 miles a day. That's, if I can get 3 miles an hour, I can walk 3 miles an hour. It's not a problem. Then it started one sort of running off, and I always run off fast because I don't like being huddled. I don't like being squished or, So I got lost. I think I got lost 3 or 4 times before the first checkpoint. And the last time I phoned myself, I was like, mate, I'm lost. And he's like, well, where are you? And I said, well, I don't know. I don't know where I am. And he's like, what can you see? And it's like, I don't know, some house. And he's like, I'm like, I can't deal with this. I'm like on meltdown. And then luckily I just sort of turned around. There's some runners like, oh my God, I'm going, I'm going to follow him. So I had to sort of stay with people. But I was like, in my head, it's like, I have to stop this. This is just dangerous because this is daylight and I am getting lost. What am I going to do at night? And then like, oh my gosh. So yeah, that first bit I wasn't in a good way. I think there's a picture of me with is it Chris? And he's giving me a big hug. I'm just like I can't explain. I was just totally done. Had enough. And then I thought, do you know what? I've got to do at least 60 miles. And then I was Steve was gonna come and meet me to run with me in the evening at the third checkpoint. Third checkpoint, first sleep station. And I messaged him saying, look, don't bother. I can't do this. When I get to Crickhowell, I am gonna just be polite, don't worry. He's messaged back, but you're doing really good. And I'm like, honestly, I can't do this. I'm gonna get to dark, and then I got another night of dark on my own, and probably another night of dark. I have 3 nights of darkness on my own. And he's like, no, it's fine. Well, I didn't look at my phone then, and then I got to the sleep station, and then he's there. And I'm like, oh man, I can't let him down now. He's come all this way to run through the night with me. So I went in, and of course that time I'm a night worker. Everyone else is really hanging. I'm like coming into my own. I'm like, I'm like raring to go, like a kid on Smarties, and I go, shh, oh, sorry. And I'm like, so just went straight back out, got through the night. And then I'm thinking, he's going, right, I'm off now. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do this? Like I'm going to get lost. I'm going to get lost. And luckily at that 4th checkpoint, I met Ed. Oh my gosh, what a life set. He wasn't going to run anymore. His feet were quite bad. And he was just waiting for someone to say, no, like the medics to say, no, don't bother. And they said, bloke said, oh, I've seen what's like, I'll walk with you. I said, we can walk. It doesn't matter. 3 miles an hour, think about it. And he's like, oh, I'll try walking. Well, within about a mile or two, we were both running. So, just sort of trotting along. So I stayed with him for the rest of the race. But we had a friend meet us at checkpoint 7. And we were, well, before we got there, we got to the old the caving centre.
Yeah.
Oh my. So I've not been asleep at this point, really. I think he's had a bit of a nap, and we're both wandering around, getting a bit lost. And he's going, I think when we get to the checkpoint, we need to have a sleep. And I'm like, what? And he's like, the stones. I went, oh, he said, they're starting to look weird. I said, yeah. And mate, honest to God, they look like pandas. And the caving centre, they're everywhere. It's just pandas everywhere. And you're like, oh dear. Mate, but it's not real, don't you? You absolutely know they're not real. But they look like pandas. And he's like, yeah, it's time for another night. So I think I had about 50 minutes there.
Yeah.
And then got up and buzzed on and got lost a little bit. But I was like saying to him, oh, when you get to the top of here, the views are amazing. We get to the top and it's misty. There's nothing to be seen here. But I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Bless him. But yeah, no, we done really well. We met with Tina. I can't remember where that was now, but that was checkpoint 7. And oh my God, she was a lifesaver. We were both sort of tired. The navigation was, mine was non-existent anyway. And she was just like, come on, let's go. And we're like, what? We didn't have to think, which was the first time I didn't have to think. I was like, oh man, this is such a relief. And she just kept us going. It was like really cool to have like a buddy runner, and for that long. She did 50 odd miles with us as well. So just absolutely unreal. We had a bit of a ball really at some points, and not at other points, not really, but yeah, well, it was all good.
So your encouragement to Ed got you through it.
Yeah, basically. See, it was an ulterior motive to me because he said he'd DNF last year, and I'm like, just walk it, just try. You never know. And he's like, well, and then when they said to him like, oh, I've seen worse, and he's like, oh. So he got them on. He even had to, so he had to get some new socks because he'd gone through every single pair of his socks. Reese bought him a pair and left him at the next checkpoint. Got there as soon as he got them on, and we went back out. He got into a bog or something, and they were minging again. Got to the I think it was checkpoint 8, and it is, he's like worried about his feet, so he borrowed a pair of my socks. My friend said to him, do you want to pull your socks up a bit? He said, I can't, the shells. So he don't go up that far. Literally just covered the bottom of his feet. Bless him, but he got it to the end.
Wow, bloody hell. That's, 5k is a big one, and I learned that in Epona. I wasn't too bad. In fairness, mine were pretty good in comparison, but that's because I think I spent the time in the checkpoints. It's important. A lot of people just want to obviously just go straight through and try and crack on, but it's so easy when you start to feel that sting to just go, oh, it's fine. I can't bother to take my stock. I'll just push on. It's so easy to ignore it, especially when you're so tired and you just want to keep moving. And I made that mistake a few times, but by the end of it, I was just stopping at every checkpoint and giving them a good clean, keeping them dry. But yeah,
do you both tape your feet up? I've started taping my feet up for my long runs. Because I know when I get the blisters, so I just tape them up beforehand to avoid it.
I don't know. I never have, and I've only been on one run since the opponent, and I've done a few other workouts and stuff. But I did put a bit of tape around my little toes with the help of one of the volunteers. She had some of that fleecy web stuff, which is really good. But I wrapped tape around my toes, and the volunteer just looked at me. I can't remember her name. Is it Els? I think her name is. She looked at me and just went, take that off immediately. That's going to make it worse, because I just kind of wrapped it around so badly. It would have given me more blisters. So she did it for me properly. But going forward, maybe, because I definitely feel a few hot spots now that I think are going to be reoccurring going forward. My little toes took a battering. I lost, had a really bad blister over my left little toe, and it had hardened. It was like a callus. And I was picking it off the other day because it was causing me some grief. And when I picked it off, my toenail just came with it. Just pulled my toenail off. I didn't even know. I was like, oh, that's a bit sore. And then stuck to the skin was my nail. So that was great. And my other one is jet black now, ready to come off. So, yeah, my feet took a battering. But
what about you, Chelle? Lost any toenails?
Only when I was marathon training. Never on an ultra.
Wow. What shoes do you run in?
Hockers.
That's interesting.
And Innovates for off-road.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Because they're wide toe box.
Did you find them wide? That's
wide toe box, yeah.
I've got one pair of mud claws which I tried on when they delivered, and I've never worn them since, because I put them on my feet and it felt like someone was squeezing my feet. I didn't like them at all. They just I went on a long run with a friend of mine, and he was just dancing down the hills, and I was slipping and sliding everywhere because the tread on my speed goats had basically worn. And I was like, what are you wearing? And he showed me the 8mm lugs on his mud claws, and I was like, I need me some of them. And they're still sat in the box. I've never worn them.
Mine ain't got barely any lugs. It's the sort of the mid ones, so they're sort of most trail, but obviously really muddy. They wouldn't be really great in the mud, but as soon as the ground's a bit dry, I was like, yeah, I can pummel this. Otherwise, I would have worn the Merrells. So But yeah, no, the Innovates, the toe box on mine are massive, which is really good because my toes are starting to curve over now because of the RA. So need that extra little bit of room. But I don't tape. The only thing I do, if that makes sense, is well, I got one foot big never like everyone else, and your feet swell. If you go up too many sizes, your foot is in the wrong place in the shape of the shoe, so you can't go up too many sizes. So I always on the back of one heel is I put a Compede, just in case. But I don't tape. I've never really had an issue. I don't think. I don't think I've had a blister or anything. I just run, and I think you look at me
here's
knowing
another
weird.
one.
I do. I just
Run.
haven't.
What?
I just run.
You've
Yeah.
done all those runs and you've never had a blister?
No.
What?
No. No. If you think though, my feet are quite tough, aren't they? Because I'm on my feet all the time at work, and I've been on my feet a lot of my life. You know, my age. So my feet are tough as iron shoes. What shoes? I don't know.
Tough as old leather.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, I get. That's crazy though. I mean, even so, I mean, from with it running after running the 200s and the hundreds and all the different, when your feet get hot and they sweat and all that stuff. I mean, do you stop and do foot care at checkpoints then, or is it just?
If it ain't broke, I don't fix it.
That's crazy.
So
Imagine.
I only changed my socks once on the 200, and it rained for the first 2 days. Yeah.
Can we swap feet?
I think they look quite weird on you and me with your big feet. And you got
I was
little
going to
feet.
say I've got size 11
Shall
and
we
a half
look
to
like a
12.
hobbit?
I'd probably fall over because what's the size of your feet?
3.5.
What?
Yeah. But I
That's
go
why
up to 4.5 in my trainers
That's
to allow for
insane.
swelling.
That's why you don't get blisters because you haven't got much foot.
Yeah.
I got double and more what you've. Wow, insane. I wanted to ask about. Obviously, we touched on earlier how you did the Wild Horse 200, and it was in prep for the FKT. Not to bring it up, might be a little bit bitter about it, I'm sure. But obviously, you were due to do it in June, weren't you? And you did start it.
Yep.
But for anybody who doesn't know about Chelle, obviously you had to cut it short just under 100 miles. We touched on this earlier on with Nathan as well about how obviously you suffer with heat a little bit.
Yeah.
I read that it was a bit of heat exhaustion or potential heat stroke. So can you tell us about what happened in those first almost 100 miles and why you had to withdraw from it?
Yeah, so basically, started off about 4:30 in the morning. It was warm then, to be fair. I got out of the car with expect to wear me windproof on, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is warm. But all the same, put it back, put my bag, and off I trotted, and it wasn't too bad. And it wasn't too bad until about 10 in the morning, and it got really, really close. There was no direct sunlight. It was just like really warm air. You know, when you get off the aircraft, I felt like that. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm taking on more drink. So I was supposed to have my crew was supposed to meet me every 50 miles just for a welfare check and top up. So my plan was to buy drinks on the way and what have you, and food and everything else. I didn't want to carry too much. I hate carrying stuff. Like Wild Horse, I felt like I was going to fall backwards all the time, how much was in there. But so I just sort of took what I needed to take in my backpack. And on the way, I was lucky, there was a pub that was outside cleaning and let me fill up with water and use the loo and everything else. I was really quite lucky. Cyclists, what you doing? And I'm like, oh, got any spare water? Yeah, yeah. So I was quite lucky in that respect. But I was getting really hot then, and I said, can you meet me at 30 with some drink? So they met me at mile 30, and they're like, look, we'll meet you again at mile 50. Can you do another 20? I'm like, yeah, yeah. And then it was like every 10, and then it was like 8 miles, and I'm really struggling to just cool. I just could not physically cool down. We stopped for about an hour at one point just to let myself cool down. And then I got running again, running absolutely fine. And it's just running through the night, and it's supposed to get cooler, and I was just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Even, when I was in the car when I had the rest, my hands were soaking. I was just absolutely pouring, and and I'm like, my goodness, and I'm drinking and I'm drinking, and the more I drink, the more I seem to sweat, and it's oh my gosh. And then I started getting a bit of a headache, and I'm thinking, do you know what? I don't think I'm losing too much fluid. I can't get it in over this sort of period, and I'm just going to end up being quite ill, I think. And I felt awful, like my legs were amazing. I felt like I'd have ran for days, but just the heat just absolutely wiped me out. It just, I met so many great people on the way as well. Oh no, I seen you on Instagram. I seen you on Facebook. I'm like, did you? How embarrassing. But yeah, I met a guy with Bigmoose top on. Oh gosh, one of the reservoirs. Penstick, is it? Penstick? What?
Oh, the Bite Taliban, yeah, Bite
Yeah,
Taliban and all that. Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So they were up
Wow.
there. But a Taff Trail is really nice until you get to the bit, for Taliban, and it's just big grit in it. Just big
Yeah,
chunks of my poor feet were like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be road running. Because that's what I am normally as a road runner. So I don't normally do trail. Well, I haven't done in
wow.
the past.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
yeah, no,
So,
I had to pull it off. I I didn't want to end my year doing nothing. If I'd have carried on and given myself reds or something really nasty, or ended up on a drip and being told off, or whatever. I just didn't want to put myself in that position as where I wouldn't probably be able to run for the rest of the year, or I would worry myself running for the rest of the year. Um, yeah, I just like to be able to keep running. I've had to stop before for the 18 months, which nearly killed me, but
mm,
I don't want to be in that position again.
no, you don't want to be, nobody should risk their health or like injuring yourself and prolonging any kind of for any longer period over a run. I mean, yes, it was exciting, it was FKT, you built it up and everything, but you were able to. Sometimes the hardest decision is to stop. I mean, it would be foolish to continue because you don't know what would have happened if you carried on. You could have collapsed. You would have been out in the middle of nowhere by yourself. It's not worth it. But I mean, obviously, the big question then is: have you got a new date? Are you planning on doing it again? And if so, when?
Um, yeah, I will do it again. I have to. um, I will. It probably be next year now, and I will probably have to do it sort of a cooler time. I think.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't mind the rain, so if it's sort of like in the cold, I'm quite good in the cold. I work quite well in the bad weather. I probably tend to work better in that weather than I do in the summer. So probably would look at sort of a February, March sort of time maybe to do it. Maybe in April. See how the work holidays pan out. But
Hmm.
yeah, definitely do it again. But it's just another learning curve. But I think the longer you run for, the more you know your body, and the more you learn and learn. Like you say, the hardest bit is saying, "Look, I shouldn't be doing this," but you shouldn't. So it makes it an easy choice in reality.
Yeah.
As much
Yeah.
as it's
Well,
gutting, it's just is what it is.
is what it is. You'll have Nathan's time to beat whatever he churns out now in the next month or so. You'll have him to beat.
But I could literally finish it, possibly, well, hopefully get a record, and then 2 weeks later, Stephen takes it. Because
Yeah,
someone's starting it just as I finish.
ooh, that would be. Can you imagine that? I mean, you could be the FKT holder for a couple of weeks and bask in it. But I mean, yeah. Well,
We'll
it's
see.
nice to win it. I mean, look at running monk Alan. I mean, he's so supportive with it. He's got the current FKT. It's lovely that we live in a world where the people are not bitter about it, and they're like, you know what? If you can beat it, let's do it. Like, I'll support you. It's good. It's nice. It's healthy competition, isn't it? Um, not all sports are like that. So it's a great thing about trail running in this community. Yeah. I was going to ask you what you would do differently next time, but you kind of answered that already, Chelle, about doing it in a different time of the year when it's maybe a bit cooler. I would ask about, do you know when you go into these long runs, do you have any kind of hydration or fueling plans? Like, is it something you're quite anal about, or do you just take what you're used to and just kind of have something every hour or whatever, or do you have like a plan?
So you're gonna laugh now. So I take my bottles, sometimes an extra one in the back, with squash.
That's it.
Just kiddie squash.
Have you worked out how many calories are in it?
No, it's just sugar in it. No, I do, and I just pack food and sweets, and my backup is some little chews by High Fuel and Hydration Precision. I can't Precision
Oh,
Fuel or whatever.
precision, precision.
The little
Yeah.
chews. Oh, they're fantastic.
Yes. You know what? I need to back you up on that. Precision fuel and hydration. So I used them for the first time at the Epona.
Yeah.
I messaged them yesterday actually because I don't know if you saw the recent post. There's somebody's using it to do the Tour de France or something coming up, and on their bike frame, they had literally a chart of like hour by hour of what gels and shoes to have. And I
Yeah.
got into a conversation with them, and I said to them, I have to say, those shoes were a game changer. They were just so. I haven't tried the lemon and lime ones. I have the normal ones, and they were so neutral. They weren't too sweet or too rich. They weren't hard to digest or chew. It was like a Turkish delight, but
Yeah.
softer. And I honestly, they were an absolute game changer. So going forward, I will always have them on me as well.
Do you know what?
Really,
They are
really good.
really good. You know when you get the nausea and you can't
Oh,
eat
okay.
or anything else, you can pop them in. They don't make you sick, so you're getting your carbs in. They're fantastic
Right.
for that. I've handed them out a few times. When I was on the wild horse, there was I can't remember her name now. She was in front of me for quite a bit, and then sort of just one behind me. And I was like, "Where is she? Where is she?" And it's she's sort of been feeling a bit sicky, so I left some there. I said, "Look, look, look. She can't get nothing else down. Just get her to have these, you know." And they're like, "Really?"
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, no, honestly. So hopefully they helped her. But
Yeah, they're
they are
really good.
fantastic. It's probably the best thing I've had, and it's the only unnatural thing I have on a run. I don't have
Oh,
gels.
so I was going to come to that. When you said you have food and squash, did you take real food with you?
Yeah, yeah,
What's
yeah. I don't
what's your
have
go-to?
anything really. Sausage roll, steak slice. It's not nice when it's warm though, and it's been in your pack a little while. Jelly babies, jelly beans, anything. Oh, and licorice all sorts. Oh my gosh, licorice all sorts. If you like them, carbs in a packet of licorice all sorts is massive.
Really?
Absolutely, yes.
Wow. Okay, I didn't know
And
that.
all in the calorie and everything else is amazing because you've got the sugar, you've got the carbs. There's so much in it. You'd be really gobsmacked. I picked up so for the 200, you had to have a minimum of 1,000 calories on you for the race, and I just took a bag of licorice all sorts. Obviously, I had other bits and bobs because I like to eat. But they were my 1,000 calorie backup, and the carbs in them was just ridiculous amounts. It's more than you've got in a protein shake or anything like that. You know, it's just
What? Really? I gotta
yeah,
look into
yeah,
that now. Nathan, we need to get the stats up on this because this is I love these little moments. See, these are the little golden nuggets. I got from like a couple of episodes ago, someone said about Rice Krispie Squares, and so I was like, what? Like, and someone said apparently, I don't know if you've heard of is it Morton, the bars?
yeah.
They're expensive. No, what was the one that you gave me, Nate? Was that that Rice
Spiker.
Krispie one?
Spiker.
No, Striker. Yeah, the Striker bars. They're like apparently somebody said in the Epona group they are identical to Rice Krispie Squares, like identical. But whereas you can pick up a Rice Krispie Square like a pack of 3 for £3, but the Striker ones are like bloody 25 quid for a pack or something. But they're
Yeah.
exactly the same, and they have so many grams of carbs in them. But it didn't do me well. Like the first Rice Krispie Square I had, I was like, oh, this is magic. Why have I not done this before? And then by about 3 or 4, I was spitting it out. I was like, all I can taste is sugar. I am so fed up with this. And it's funny because when I emptied my bag the other day, I got about 10 still left in my bag in little Ziploc bags. So we're using them for snacks for work now instead. But one thing I picked up and you said then, Chelle, and that I'm going to try going forward is Greg's sausage rolls. A few people have said it. I think I have to give it a go because cold or hot, doesn't matter. They are amazing. I reckon I'd do a good job.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's just easy. It's just, even if they get a bit mushed in the bag, it doesn't matter. It just you just get like mushy pastry,
Just
But
roll it
yeah,
into a ball.
and you've got the salt in there as well, I don't take any salts. I used to think because I do get hot and I do sweat excessively, I was concerned about my salts. Because someone said I was getting nauseous because of the salt, blah blah blah. So I did have a sweat test. And considering how much I sweat, I barely lose that much salt, which is good. So I'm quite lucky on that front. So hence, as long as I keep drinking me juice.
Yeah.
And then my protein shakes is the Mars drinks.
Ooh. Well, the thick chocolatey ones.
Yeah, they got protein, quite a lot of protein in them, haven't they?
Don't they make you feel sick though when you're running?
Oh no! When I get, when you're stopped, I don't drink. Oh, I don't drink protein whilst on the run. Can you imagine drinking milk?
You're in, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, goes like blancmange, especially in the
Oh.
heat.
Chewed up steak bacon and Mars bar, like, oh God, God knows. Yeah,
No.
I did. I've told this story a few times. One of the when I did Edam last year, one of the guys at the checkpoint pulled in, took a can of Guinness out of his bag, necked it, put the can in the bin, carried on. Can't fault it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a hot. No, it wasn't a hot day. It was a miserable day. But yeah, this relatively is probably quite warm actually. But I suppose there's lots of iron and stuff in those. I'm not sure it would be a recommendation for people, but I'm not sure it'd even be legal in some races. But yeah, it was it was funny to see.
Yeah, I know some people that have it after to put all the nutrients back in. It's not it's more of a liquid lunch, isn't it? It's quite what's
Heavy.
the word? Quite chewy drink, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not something.
There's a lot of them.
But I always have a beer at the end of my races. Always.
Same.
Yeah.
First thing I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
When I done the cot for, and they said, "Do you want a cup of tea? Hot chocolate? Do you want coffee?" I'm like, "No, just get me a beer." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
And someone come off and go, "I got one in my van," and brought it back. And it did get tweeted actually. And like to the company, it got retweeted quite a few times. Like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing! My coach's like, "Were you drinking again?"
That's my dad's only thing was be at the finish line and have a bottle of beer for me. So he had a can of freezing cold Doom Bar for me when I crossed the opponent, and it was it's the most magical taste. Really was.
Love it. There's only one time I couldn't drink, and that was I done the Grand Union Canal race. And any run I've ever done, I've always had a beer afterwards. And I just got to a point, and I met my daughter the last 10 miles, and she's like, "Come on, keep going, you can have your beer." I'm like, "I really don't think I could drink a beer." And I'm like, "What?" And I didn't. I just couldn't.
Surprising.
But that was really hot then as well. So
you broke the tradition.
Chelle, the start of the year, you took part in the Arc of Attrition. How was that for you?
Horrific. Absolutely horrific. It was my first proper trail race, and it was the Arc of Attrition. And I watched, I signed up, didn't make, the cut. So I then get an email, I think it was November, saying that you're on the reserve list. There's a place if you want it. And I'm like, oh, do I, don't I? And I've done a bit with my mate, Si. Used to go out with him every weekend on a bit of a jolly and everything else. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And I thought, so I messaged him. He's like, yeah, I got one as well. I was like, all right, we'll do it. We'll do it together. So I'm like panicking anyway, because like my navigation is terrible. It's an understatement. So that's when I went on the recce and got terribly lost. Yeah, and it frightened the life out of me. I went back down afterwards and done the last part of the race to recce it, and that wasn't too bad. But then I was with someone on that, On the race, I was really like, what have I done? I just, oh my God. There's all these people looking like pros. There's, you know, like it's me, like, oh, do I need poles? Do I not need poles? Do I not? And I thought, well, put me in my drop bag. I don't know. And there's all these like people like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm sort of running along the road bit, and I'm all right on road. I can go like a rocket, but as soon as you got the off road, I'm like Bambi on ice, like doo doo doo. And then I twisted my ankle, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then I'm limping along. Oh, honest to God, I thought, God, I got to the first checkpoint and I felt okay. And I'm like I'm an in and out on a checkpoint. Because if I stop, I start to seize up. So I get in, I get out. So I went in, got my head torch on, and started to head out again. And you're trying to keep up with other people's, because everyone has to wear a light on their back. You have to have a flashing light on your back. So it was nice because you could see people for miles, like red lights blobbing all the way along the side of the coast. It was amazing, actually. So I always felt okay in that respect until I got to the third quarter. If I'd have recce'd that bit, I wouldn't have done the race. I
What
was
was so bad about it?
boulders,
Oh,
boulders. I had the only off-roading I'd done is like going up the fans and stuff, you know, so nothing technical. And I get to this bit and it's like 20 miles of it, and I'm just like, where's the path? And then people go by me and they're climbing over these boulders, and I'm like, what? And it's like I'm small, and then I couldn't jump down. Oh my God! And you're quite close to the edge, and I'm like, oh, don't look down, don't look down. I get a bit of vertigo, and I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm right, a next checkpoint, that's it. I've had enough. I've had enough. And I got to the next point, I might have enough. No, 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 you've got the last bit. It's the easiest bit. And I'm like, no, no. And he's going, like, come on, have you done it? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, it is easy, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. But do you know what? I'm so traumatized by that race. But
What what
just
time did you finish it in?
32 hours.
That's
what
an
distance was that?
nutshell.
Was that 100?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
quite
really good
traumatic for
done.
me. I'm
So
really glad I'd done it.
how
But
did you put yourself through it then?
don't really know. The mate I was running with pulled out after about a few miles. So I was just sort of, I don't know what pulled me through it. I have no idea. Sort of having words with myself, remembering why I'm doing it, which I couldn't that point through the boulders, I was just like, I need to get to the end of this point because I'm just sat on these stones for half of it and just didn't know what I was doing. Just sort of sat there. I even cried. I mean, I'm not an emotional person on a race at all. Even when I finish, I don't cry or anything like that. I'm not, and I'm on these stones crying, like, and cussing at myself, like, what have you done to yourself? And I'm like, but I don't know. I just, I got to move. I got to move and just kept moving. And then when I got the last check, when they said, look, you could walk it in, just do it. I'm like, okay, I can walk it. And I've done this route and it's not too bad. So I literally just started, it was all right actually. I got out and I started running. Because obviously 100 miles is all right. But I just was just running and I remembered like certain bits I'd done it in the winter and it was absolute bog mess, like horrific before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to be sort of facing? God, it's like dry as a bone. And I'm like, okay, it's just like running on a path, and it was all right. It was apart from the hills I mean, going uphill, I'm a savage. Going downhill, I'm terrible. I can get up a hill, like people fly past me downhill, get to the hills going up, and I'm going by them. And that's just me like doing mum march. When you're late for school and you've got your kids in tow, and
Yeah.
you've got to you're a bit late, and you say, come on, kids, and you do that mum march or dad march, and I just do that, and I have a song in my head when I go uphill as well. So like, to keep me moving at the same rate all the time, just any random song comes in my head, and I'll keep my feet moving to that. But I don't know what pulled me through that. I just know I did hallucinate a little bit on that one, but I knew it wasn't horrific. It was just like some of the bushes looked like people sat there looking at me. But when I finished and I went to go and have a shower, I got in the shower and I got out and and I'm going across the grass to the van, but they look like stones because of the boulders, and I'm lifting my legs up onto things that weren't even there. It's quite bizarre. But would I do it again? Never. If I had any advice for anyone, would be if you're going to recce that third quarter, because that's the
Wow.
technical bit.
Bloody hell.
And if you
Do
can't
you
do that
ever-
bit, then
Have you ever had? Yeah, I know you've got 5 children. They're all older now. Are any of them into running? Have any of them ever offered to pace you or come along on any of these with you?
no, my kids crew me quite often. They two of them crewed for the FKT last minute, and they're I think one of them, I think maybe two in August are crewing me, and in September, I'm not sure who's crewing me on that one yet, but they tend to crew. My daughter likes to run, but I think she's may attempt her first proper ultra this year. She's done a backyard ultra with me. We had a ball. She absolutely loved it. And Reading and Jaw. She really enjoyed Reading and Jaw. She did it with me the second time I'd done it. She absolutely loved it.
Wow.
Just the camaraderie of, because no one, you're just going around and there's no pressure on time or pace, because you do a marathon. People are like, what's your time? What time do you do it in? You do like, oh, I've just run 100-mile. What all in one go? Did you stop overnight? Did you sleep in a hotel? And it's like, did I sleep in a hotel? Oh yeah, and I had a spa. No, it's no one ever asks you that. It's just and that's why I pulled away from the marathons. I was a good for age runner, so it's always about time and pace, and it just kind of killed me off a little bit.
It weighs you down a bit, doesn't it? When you just clock watching and just like constantly looking at zones and heart rates and pace and stuff. We've spoken about this a lot since starting this. And you when you move away from that into the world of trail running or ultras, it just becomes more about like the process, like enjoying it, than just stat watching, statistic watching. Because when you're doing your 5Ks, your 10Ks, your halves, blah blah blah, you're going on Strava, you're checking the segments, who's the king, and then you're like, oh bastard, they took it off me, and then you get so competitive. Whereas in an ultra, it's just like it's just really fun. Like you said, even in the FKT, you didn't complete it, but how many people did you meet along the way? Like you ask a marathon runner if they've run New York, London, doesn't matter. Ask them at the end. If they were trying to get a PB, ask them what they saw around them and see what they say. They'll be like, I don't know, head down, I was trying to get to the finish line. But you ask someone on a 50-mile or a 30-mile trail run what they saw, and they could tell you a story. I think it's just a difference, and each to their own. Don't get me wrong. I have huge amount of admiration for the people who do those 5-10s and sub 3 hour, sub 2 hour marathons. Huge amount of admiration for them. But I think it's just it completely changes the dynamic of the run, doesn't it? For me,
because
anyway,
it's competition, isn't it? It is competition, isn't it? You're always watching the next person. It's hard. And if I went out for a slow run, people go, oh, you injured then? It's like, no, I'm just having a jolly. Is that all right? Was you running with someone? And I try not to put people, like if you are running with someone, it's like really cruel. And I felt really bad. And then it got to a point I got quite fast, and I say, anyone up for a run? And I'd be like, no, you wouldn't want to run with me anyway.
You
So I
do
ran
exactly
a lot on my own. So
that's what happened to Nathan a few weeks ago when he ran with Larry and she almost killed him off.
Ruined me. Speaking of segments, though, did you see that Nathan Hutton had local legend round back of Garth or Forest Vower? I was raging. Oh, he won Wild Horse.
oh crikey, gosh, he was like a rocket.
Yeah, so he's taken over local legend around Forest Vower and the Garth.
Okay.
I'm thinking, how the fuck is that possible? I'm up there like every day, like doing loops up there. And then it dawned on me that I haven't been putting my stuff on Strava, have I?
Have you not?
No.
You've been hiding it.
I have. People don't
I
know.
don't bother. I mean, it is what it is. It hides you now, which is better. I mean, I've blocked people before for making stupid comments and you know, I had one race that I won. Someone commented cheat.
What?
See,
Um,
I'd use that as ammunition, and I do what that Andrew Glaze does, and just say, let's see what my haters are saying this week, and
yeah.
just like chat shit about them. I like that. I mean, I've been off Strava for a while now. I'm going to go back on the night just because I got to a point where I realized I didn't need it. Like, I mean, I'm still logging I didn't even know you could hide your runs, by the way. So is that a thing? I didn't even know you
You
could
can
do
hide
that.
them. Yeah.
No, I didn't know that. It's not about that for me. I still use my Garmin, but at the end of the run, I'll just delete it off my watch. I know what I've done, and I feel like, well, I don't really need everybody else to see it. Like the whole joke, if it's not on Strava, it didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Yeah.
But with the really big runs, like I want them on there so I can look at, steps and I don't know, various other things and what have you. But yeah, I'm not. I don't know. It's one of
I
those things
like
I've
it for
kind
the
of thought.
data. I like the data that I see, and I think, when you've had that run and it's, oh God, that was a slog. I was going really slow, and you get back and it's like, okay, it wasn't slow. It's like, oh, what was that all about, Or you think you've gone really fast and you get back and it was like, okay, I was only sort of like 8 minute 30. Okay, that felt like, I was really pushing myself. Perhaps I wasn't. It's really weird, and it all goes on mood as well, I find. If
Yeah.
I've woke up, and I'm quite chilled and whatever, and I'll go for a run, I tend to run better than if I've got it planned and right, I'm going to do this. I tend to run pants.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've spoken about before. If I leave the house going, right, I'm gonna get a sub 20 minute 5k today, I'll never get it. I've never got it to this day. But I have once, but it was when I wasn't planning on it. I just went out on a run and I thought, I feel really quick. Got 2 miles in, got 2.5 miles in. I was like, okay, I'm not slowing down, so I'll just go for a PB. But if I set out and I stretch and I warm up and I prepare myself to get that, I don't know what it is mentally. I put too much pressure on myself. And it's the same with when you look at data and stuff like that. I mean, Jenks is the boy, he's a good friend of ours, big runner, and he's been on the podcast a few times. He's mad for heart rates and things like that. But then that data can be skewed so easily when you factor in lack of sleep or stress, or if you've had a bad day, or you know anything. It can all factor it. So that's one thing I've never paid attention to. Like, I'll do a run and it'll be like, oh, mate, you're in zone 2 in there. And I'm like, what does that mean? I don't care. Like, I felt good. I don't know what that means. Like,
No, I don't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's relevant or not. I suppose my heart rate, obviously, my resting heart rate is really low since I have been running so much. I've gone into hospital and they're like, "Are you feeling all right?" And it's like, yeah, no, yeah. And they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And they're like, "Okay, so you're sort of 40 beats a minute." And it's like, "Okay." And then
yeah,
someone goes, "Are you an athlete?" What
yeah,
sort of a runner? Oh, are you? Yeah. How far do you run? And I say, and they're like, you what?
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, yeah,
Their answer
heart
was
rate isn't
probably
a thing for me because I used to have my heart rate was after when we had the COVID jabs, I had an allergic reaction because the RA sort of attacked because it's seen an infection, so went overdrive. And my heart rate when I ran was over 200 beats per minute. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then you sort of start seeing specialists and stuff. And it's just, one of those things. But no matter what I'd done, even like if I was going a real gentle run, it'd still be over 200 beats per minute. So I never fully trust a heart because I felt all right.
Mm,
Then you say that now, at the end of a race, I have to normally lie down because as soon as I stop, my blood pressure drops really, my heart rate drops really quickly. So
mm,
then I tend to go out cold. So, it's normally when I've ran really fast, like over the 200, none of it was really fast. So it's, by the end, we did run the end. Probably the last 16 we ran quite well. But yeah, no, it was, because your heart rate's quite low anyway. I used to sort of try and keep my heart rate below 100 before I
mm.
stop, otherwise I stop very quickly and then I'm not great being picked up off the
No,
floor all legs up in the air, and it's not pretty.
That's what they say, don't they? I do that a lot. There's a picture of me. I found a great picture. I'll send it over to you, Nate. You'll have to put it on here, like when you do it on the YouTube. At checkpoint 6, I was active and I couldn't remember I'd done it, but I saw it the other day, it made me laugh. At checkpoint 6, coming out of the night section, and I was just like a zombie. And I just wanted to lay down and put my legs up in the air. But for whatever reason, that checkpoint were having serious issues with midges. Like everyone was getting bitten. It was really bad. And so I laid down. There's a picture of me with my feet up on the rock. But I put a Harrier buff on and pulled it over my face and then put my hat on top. And I'm laid there with my legs up on this rock. And it looks like a mannequin. It didn't look like it's me. It looks fake. It's hysterical. It's a great picture. And everyone's like, why? And it's because I don't care if they bite me. I just don't want them going in my mouth.
No. Cool.
So I was totally like, I was almost gone. I was almost dead to the world. But yeah, it's legs up, they say, don't they? They say to do that the night before as well, apparently. Like just for like 20 minutes, just feet up. I don't know the science behind it, but
It's to get
yeah,
fresh
it
blood
works for
into your
me.
muscles.
Yeah,
yeah. I
it
mean,
does work for me. So there must be something really good behind it. I don't know. And the swelling, obviously, because where you're constantly upright, the swelling, all the fluid and everything goes down to your legs. So when you elevate, it takes that swelling out a little bit as well. And that's another reason I don't change shoes or socks, is because my feet swell. And if I get the shoes off, they ain't going back on.
yeah, that's that's what helped with my feet after, because my first 100, my feet was the biggest problem, was the swelling. The
Yeah.
biggest problem. The blisters and all that I can deal with, whatever. But the swelling of them, they got really bad. And I work from home, so I was trying to keep them raised. And at night, I was putting my wife's got a yoga bolster thing, and we put that on the end of the bed, and I was raising my feet up on that. And the difference it made when I was waking up in the mornings to before I did it, it's like I had nutty professor feet. I've got big trotters anyway, so it was a nightmare trying to get socks on and stuff like that. But no, the joys of running, the joys of these things that we do, eh?
Yeah.
So
We don't
What's
do them
next for you
lightly
now
either,
then,
do we?
Chelle?
Sorry?
What's next for you now?
I don't like to say too much. I've got a 24-hour event and a backyard ultra, which I love backyard ultras. I've not done enough of them. They are such a jolly. I have a ball. It's just you go around saying people, I know I'm not going to get lost. There's people always to follow.
yeah,
You
I
know,
was
and
going to say,
it's such good fun, and everyone shares because you're all going back to the same point every time. You wander around, someone saying, "Oh, I got this. Oh, I got this in my bag. If you want it, help
yeah,
yourself." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." And they go, "Oh, anyone got this?" Like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." So it's just such a share-a-thon, and obviously the people that are really, really good want more people there so they can go further, because you can only go as far as the second person as you like. So
yeah.
it's quite cool. I love it. The camaraderie on that is fantastic. And when someone's, I'm going to ring the bell. No, 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 keep going, keep going. You make them do one more. It is fab. I do really, really enjoy them, and wish I'd done a few more really. But yeah,
Plenty of
I'm looking
time.
forward to it.
Plenty
Yeah,
of time.
one more this year, and then hopefully the Copthorne 200. I'm going to see how I feel. That is brutal. That was 22,000 meters elevation,
What?
over 100 miles. Yeah,
Wow.
Christ.
yeah, that was brutal. That was worse than the Arc for elevation.
I'm intrigued with all these crazy things that you do. I'm intrigued what a bucket list would be for you. Like any race in the world. If someone said, "No, I got a briefcase full of money. I'll pay for your travel and everything anywhere in the world," what would you do, run wise?
Oh, I'd like to do UTMB,
Hmm.
but I don't fancy running Snowdon to do it. I'm not gonna lie, because it's quite technical. So, and I get lost anyway. I don't know. I'd fancy something in the States, one of their 200s, I think. I'm not sure which
Hmm.
one, but I'd fancy something like that.
Pogadona 250. That's what you want to do. The big
Yes,
one.
I have seen, but they got to go across water and stuff, haven't they? So that's not for
Yeah.
me. I'm not a strong swimmer. I'd probably get taken downstream knowing my luck.
Yeah, that's interesting. Favorite running trail?
Poker.
Favorite running trail?
I quite like St. Ichtid's, so
Fair. Music or no music whilst you're running?
race I have no music. When I'm running on my own, I have music.
Okay, so go to artist when you're running, when you're training.
Dodgiest music ever, 80s.
What's your favorite post-race meal?
Post race, got to be liquid, hasn't it? It's got to be a beer and a packet of crisps.
Oh yeah. Oh, I tell you what. Go. Favorite flavor crisp.
Cheese and onion.
Yes, that's mine. Yes. Get in. That's my absolute go-to. I love crisps, but that's my like golden standard. Cheese and onion. There we go. That was it. It's just a stupid little game I like doing and trying to learn a little bit more about you. But yeah, nice one, Shaf, for coming on. Though it's been really cool to chat to you. And like I said, I've never met you or spoken to you before, and it's really good to get to know you and all the things you've done and the things you got coming up. And wish you nothing but the best with any other runs, and hopefully the next FKT, you'll get it. You'll do it. There'll be no issue. But
Lovely.
you have to keep us posted.
Will do, definitely.
Oh.
And obviously, Nathan, if you're my area on your coastal path and need a buddy, give us a shout.
Think I'm there end of July, 1st of July.
You
something
have
like
have you
that.
got your tracker?
No, I'm going to go with the links. That's if you go on FKT, they give you apps to follow because I can use Strava to sort of like share my location, and
Yeah.
so people can follow me that way.
It
And
drains your
then
battery, mind.
I got
Absolutely sabotages your
yeah,
battery.
I got well, the charging points anyway.
Yeah.
2 battery
Mm.
packs I'm taking with me. And I'll use these apps then they've given me to actually like form the GPS file for all of it. Just going to stick to select my phones and my watch now.
Yeah. With the map on it.
Yeah.
Are you wearing
Big
your
map.
glasses?
Well, I am going to take them actually, to be honest, in my backpack. Just
I
in
lost my
case.
pair on them, the Wild Horse 200. I took
Oh,
with me.
God. That's all you need.
I couldn't see it. I can't see me watch it the best of times. So yeah, when when I went to my pocket, it's like, oh no, oh dear. It's like, oh dear. If I do have to on my own, I'm gonna get lost again. But yeah, I did an extra 24 miles on that one. So
Oh my God. That sounds disgusting.
I still came in first female.
It's mad, isn't it? It's
I beat the
bonkers.
course record as well for the female by 10, is it 10 or 20 minutes?
Oh,
I think
bloody
as
hell.
well.
So it would have been a couple of hours if you didn't get lost.
I
I
know.
ran
Do you
an
know what?
extra
I was
triathlon
quite savage when I
sometime.
thought about it afterwards, but like at the time, I didn't really know what was going on until I think the 8th checkpoint. Someone had said like you are quite a way in front. I'm like, what? The girl I was running with was like going, don't tell her anything, don't tell her anything, because I don't like to know, because I don't want the pressure and I don't want. But and when I was looking at the time, what time it was, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, because I was headed for 82, 84 hours. I had in my head, if I walked the whole thing in 3 miles an hour, it would have been sort of like 82, so 72 hours walking and sort of 10, 12 hours of rest time, when I stop and go in and out of all the thing. And that's how I've done it in my head logically. But yeah, no, when it's sort of like, is it checkpoint 8 and it was like 50 odd hours, I'm like, what? So I knew then it was going to be a good time, but wasn't, I didn't realize how until the last checkpoint. I think, oh my god, I'm going to smash my 80, 84. I'm going to be looking at sort of 68 hours. So
You'll have to go back next year and beat it
no.
again.
No. Do you know what? There's something I don't do is revisit races. I try not to. Even if I've done well. I've had a couple of instances where you turn up at a race and people's Googled you and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I had one race, it wasn't like, oh yeah, she's going to win it. She's going to do this. She's going to do that. And it's like, oh my gosh, please don't, please don't. And everyone's looking at you. I turned up to the race camp and someone said, oh, that's going to be the first female. And it's like, guys, I don't do trail running. Have you seen me on the trails? I'm like Bambi on ice, but yeah, it's
That's
the
nice.
pressure. It's not nice, but you know, I'm always honest when people say, "Oh, you know, what have you done? What have you done?" I always tell people, but I don't quite like being Googled or Strava stalked,
That's
as it
nuts.
was.
That's
Well, I look forward to see what you're doing in the future. I won't Google or Strava stalk you. I'll just message you on Instagram instead. But,
No worries.
looking-
I'll let everyone know. We're a bit nearer the time. I don't like to I don't know. I am revisiting a race, but it's not a race for me. It's going back to family. It's where it all began. So, you know,
nice, exciting.
yeah, looking forward to it.
Good. Okay. Well, yeah. Please keep us updated. I'm sure you'll post something on your Instagram when everything's planned. But yeah, we'll let you get on with your evening now. But thank you so much again for coming on. It's
No
been an
worries.
absolute pleasure. And
Thank you for having me.
thank you for coming on. You've made us laugh. It's been really cool and interesting, and good to hear your story and where you're going from here. So yeah, thank you again. Thank you very much.
No worries. Take care,
thanks,
guys.
Chelle.
Good
Hope
luck,
to see you in
Nathan. Let
about,
us know if you need anybody running.
hope to see you in about 4 weeks then.
No worries. Take care.
Cheers, Chelle. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Quite insane. So like how she's just so naturally fit.
Yeah, it's kind of like
It's almost freakish when she's saying her resting heart rate was 40. When she runs, it's like 200 plus.
yeah, after COVID and stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
That's nuts.
Incredible. Really, really cool though. And nice lady as well. Really nice lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good to chat with her. Nice, honest as well. Like kind of like Nathan, like does everything wrong, but still like run an extra almost marathon and still fucking took first female. What's that all about?
I know.
Mental.
Crazy.
Jesus.
Crazy.
Right. And that's it. Thank you ever so much to everybody who listened. It was an absolute pleasure talking to Chelle. Hope you all enjoyed it. As always, thank you so much to anyone who's tuned in previously, listened, subscribed, and to any of the previous episodes. We've got some amazing guests coming up. We really have. Me and Nathan are both taken aback by the reaction we've had to this and the people who've agreed to even come on and speak to us. So, yeah, keep listening for some more amazing episodes. And just a final good luck to everyone who's taking on the Pigham this weekend. I know a few of those people did the Epona, and you got to go back up the Sugarloaf. So enjoy that. I will be thinking of you and laughing secretly. But enjoy it, guys. And yeah, thanks ever so much for tuning in again. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys. Bye.